To give someone a backhanded compliment. So we have this phrase that we use to talk about when you compliment someone, but you also insult that person at the same time. So we call it a backhanded compliment. It's because this is the back of your hand, right? And if you hit somebody with that, it's called a backhand. You're backhanding somebody. You're hitting somebody with the back of your hand, right? So a backhanded compliment is, you are saying something nice about that person, but you are also kind of hitting that person with the back of your hand at the same time. So an example would be like if you see someone who you haven't seen in a while and you're like, wow, you look really good. Last time I saw you, you looked terrible. You were awful looking. You were really out of shape and looked really bad, but you look good now. It's like you're complimenting them, but you're also insulting them at the same time. Got that? To go overboard. So this is when you do something that is uncalled for, or it's too much, or it's exceeding a certain limit, right? So I gave an example of this the other day from a song, and it was I'm going overboard, something like that. And I was explaining how when you fall off a ship or off of a boat, we say you went overboard, right? So you fell overboard. So it's like you're going over an edge, right? You're crossing a limit. So an example would be like if somebody drinks too much and they behave erratically, we say, whoa, you've gone a little overboard. It's like you've had enough, or if I'm telling jokes and my jokes start to get very offensive and people get upset, they can say, hey, Mike, you went a little overboard, man. Okay, so this one is a funny one. It's to whip someone into shape, right? So you might hear this from a coach or a trainer talking about how they're going to whip someone into shape. It means that they're going to give that person very difficult training in order to get that person in good shape. So you whip the person into shape. Now, what's interesting about this is that we will often use the word whoop, right? I'm going to whoop you into shape, which apparently is a kind of jokey way of pronouncing the word whip. So the word whoop also can mean like getting beat very badly. So for example, if one team beats another team, I might say, oh, that team whooped the other team yesterday. He talks the talk, but can he walk the walk? So when you talk the talk, it means that you brag a lot, you talk really highly of yourself. And when you walk the walk, it means that you do what you actually say you can do. So people will often say, this person talks the talk, but can this person walk the walk? It means this person can talk about how good they are, but are they really that good? Can their actions speak for their words? Talk the talk, walk the walk. It's one you need to know. To drag someone's name through the mud. So this is a phrase that we use when we talk about basically somebody receiving a lot of criticism. Politicians often have their names dragged through the mud. Anybody who's in leadership or in positions of power is typically will have their name dragged through the mud. So it's basically when people criticize you very negatively or say very bad things about you, we say you had your name dragged through the mud. So two key words here to drag. Drag is like when you pull something that is on the ground, so you're like pulling it and you're dragging it. Like you could drag something that's really heavy, like a piece of furniture, so you don't have to lift it, you drag it. And then mud. Mud is dirt, but dirt when it becomes wet, so it's muddy, right? To fess up. So to fess up is a phrasal verb that we use to talk about confessing, basically. So it's actually a shortened word for confession, right? To confess. And you're fessing up. You're letting the words come up out of your mouth that tells the truth. To fess up. So let me give you an example real quick. When your mom catches you, maybe you were getting into her jewelry, right? And you wore some of her clothes. And she's like, hey, did you wear my clothes? Come on, fess up. I know that this missing jewelry is something you took. Fess up. To level with someone. So this is a phrase that we use when we talk about telling somebody the truth, right? We say, I'm going to level with you. Typically, it's a truth that they might not like or that might surprise them. So we say, I'm going to level with you. Listen, I'm going to level with you here. The reason that you're not advancing in the company is because the main boss doesn't really like you, something like that. Or I'm going to level with you here. You're not going to learn English in 1 week. It takes a really long time. It's not something that you can achieve in a matter of a week. I'm going to level. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to tell you kind of a hard truth, basically. The idea is like you're talking on the same level as them. You're not going above them or under them, going direct. You're leveling with someone. Go for the gusto. So this is a phrase that we use to talk about going out and doing something you enjoy, or going out and doing something that you aspire to do. You go for the gusto. It's like kind of like go big or go home. Go for the gusto. Go for what your ambitions are. Go out and do something big. Go for the gusto. Go out and grab life by the horns, we could say too. A lot of expressions there, but go for the gusto. And this one is interesting because gusto, I believe, comes from the Spanish word gusto, right? But we say gusto. So it should be easy for Spanish speakers because it's the same word, just with that short U sound instead of gusto, it's gusto. Go for the gusto. So the other day I did a little English quiz on the phrasal verb that you use for when the police stop you while you're driving. And that phrasal verb is to get pulled over. So almost everybody got it correct. Everybody knew it. When a cop pulls you over, that means that they stop you because you are breaking some sort of traffic law usually. So you can just say, I got pulled over. Now this is interesting because it also requires the verb to get, right? You get pulled over. It's a passive verb, right? So when we say it, we're talking about getting pulled over by a police officer. So it's passive in that it's something that's happening to you. So you're not the main subject doing the action. The police officer is. So you get pulled over. Bottoms up. This phrase is a phrase that we use when we're doing like a toast or when we want somebody to finish their drink, right? You say bottoms up. It's like because the bottom of the drink, you're putting the bottom of the drink up, you know, the bottom is going up. So we say bottoms up. It's like you could also say enjoy your drink kind of thing, like bottoms up. Here you go. Cheers, you know. But yeah, when somebody says bottoms up, it's usually like finish your drink, and like drink until it's all gone, bottoms up. So you do the bottoms up. That's what bottoms up means.